Have you ever considered the environmental impact of illegal immigration? It's a question that might not cross your mind often, but it's one that carries significant weight. The environmental repercussions of illegal immigration are vast, and they're often overlooked in the broader conversation. Let's embark on a journey to discover the unseen impact of this global issue. We'll explore three primary aspects: the trail of litter and waste left during travel, the strain on local infrastructure, and the lack of environmental consciousness. Firstly, imagine the journey of an illegal immigrant. It's a path often fraught with danger and uncertainty. But what's left in the wake of this journey? It's a trail of discarded items, plastic bottles, food wrappers, clothing, all left behind in the rush and the fear. This litter not only scars the landscape, but also poses a risk to local wildlife and ecosystems. Secondly, consider the infrastructure of any country. Roads, water systems, waste management, they're all designed to accommodate a certain population. But what happens when the population swells unexpectedly? The infrastructure strains under the pressure. This strain leads to more pollution, more waste, and more environmental damage. Lastly, let's not forget about the lack of environmental concern. Most illegal immigrants are focused on survival, on finding a better life, and the environment often takes a back seat. This isn't a judgment, but a reality of the situation. The lack of environmental awareness leads to behaviors that can harm the natural world. These are complex issues with no easy solutions, but it's important to remember that the environment isn't just a backdrop for these human dramas. It's a living, breathing entity that suffers silently under the weight of our actions. This unseen impact of illegal immigration is immense, and it's about time we brought it into the light. It's about time we started talking about it, understanding it, and finding ways to mitigate it. So, are you ready to take this journey with us? Let's dive deeper into these issues, starting with the trails of garbage left behind. Imagine a trail, not of breadcrumbs, but of discarded belongings and waste. This is a reality in many places across the globe where illegal immigration is rampant. The journey of these immigrants is marked by trails of trash, left in their wake, a stark testament to their passage. From abandoned clothes, food wrappers, water bottles, to even more hazardous waste like used needles and human waste, these trails are not just unsightly, but pose serious threats to local ecosystems and wildlife. Take, for instance, the case of Arizona's Sonoran Desert. It's a harsh, unforgiving environment, and yet it bears the brunt of countless illegal crossings each year. The result? Over 200 tons of trash accumulated each year, according to data from the Bureau of Land Management. This garbage not only mars the pristine beauty of the desert, but also threatens the delicate balance of its ecosystem. The discarded waste can contaminate the soil and water sources, affecting the plants and animals that call these environments home. Plastic waste poses a choking hazard for wildlife, while human waste can introduce non-native bacteria and viruses that can wreak havoc on local species. Moreover, the waste left behind can also increase the risk of wildfires, especially in dry climates. Discarded cigarette butts, unextinguished campfires, or even the sunlight magnified through a piece of glass can ignite a spark that can quickly turn into a raging wildfire, devastating vast areas of wilderness and displacing or killing countless animals. It's a ripple effect, really. One discarded item might seem insignificant, but when multiplied by thousands of illegal crossings, the impact is substantial and damaging. This is not about pointing fingers or laying blame. It's about understanding the broader implications of our actions and decisions. It's about recognizing that our environment and ecosystems are fragile, and they need our protection and care. Our infrastructure is designed to support a certain population. What happens when that limit is exceeded? Every country's infrastructure is a carefully calibrated system, designed to accommodate and support its existing population, and an anticipated amount of legal immigration. It's a balancing act that involves planning for water supply, waste management, public transportation, healthcare, and much more. But what happens when this balance is upset by an unexpected surge in population due to illegal immigration? When this occurs, the strain on the infrastructure can lead to environmental degradation. For instance, consider the issue of waste management. A system designed to handle a specific amount of waste suddenly has to cope with much more. The result can be overflowing landfills, increased pollution, and damage to local ecosystems. Let's take a real-world example. In certain border regions in the United States, rapid increases in population due to illegal immigration have overtaxed local water systems. This has led to water shortages, forcing communities to tap into groundwater reserves, which can cause land subsidence and other forms of environmental damage. Moreover, increased population density can lead to more vehicles on the road, contributing to air pollution and increased carbon emissions. Public transportation systems designed for a certain capacity can become overcrowded, leading to delays and inefficiencies that impact everyone. Healthcare is another area that feels the strain. An unexpected influx of people can overwhelm hospitals and clinics, leading to longer wait times and reduced access to care. This can also result in an increase in untreated illnesses, which can lead to outbreaks of diseases, posing a risk to public health and safety. In essence, illegal immigration can put a significant strain on infrastructure, leading to environmental degradation and a decline in the quality of life for everyone. It's a complex issue that goes beyond simple numbers and statistics. It's about the health of our planet, the well-being of our communities, and the sustainability of our future. This strain on our infrastructure is only part of the problem. How much does environmental concern factor into the equation for those crossing borders illegally? The answer, unfortunately, is not much. The harsh reality is that when survival is the primary focus, environmental considerations often take a back seat. This isn't unique to those crossing borders illegally, it's a common human trait. However, the scale of the problem amplifies its impact. Littering, for instance, is a symptom of a wider issue, a lack of environmental awareness. It's the disposable water bottles left behind in the desert, the food wrappers strewn along trails, the abandoned temporary shelters. These aren't just unsightly, they contribute to pollution, harm wildlife, and even increase the risk of wildfires. Let's consider a case study: the Sonoran Desert. This vast, arid expanse straddles the US-Mexico border and is a common route for those seeking to cross illegally. It's also a unique and fragile ecosystem, home to countless species of plants and animals. Yet the detritus of human passage is taking a toll on this delicate landscape. And it's not just litter. Temporary camps, often set up by those making the perilous journey, can have a lasting impact on the environment. These camps can disrupt local wildlife, contribute to soil erosion, and even contaminate water sources. But can we blame those crossing borders illegally for this? After all, they're often fleeing desperate circumstances, seeking a better life. The issue isn't really about assigning blame. Rather, it's about recognizing the unintended consequences of these actions. What's more, it's about understanding that these environmental problems aren't confined to the areas around borders. They ripple outwards, affecting us all. They strain our infrastructure, exacerbating existing environmental challenges. So, is it ignorance or negligence? Perhaps it's a bit of both. But more than that, it's a symptom of a larger problem: our collective failure to prioritize the environment in our decision-making processes. Sadly, the environment is often the last thing on anyone's mind in these situations. It's clear that the environment is paying a heavy price for illegal immigration. So, what can be done? The question isn't just rhetorical, it's a call to action. We've seen the trails of trash, the strain on infrastructure, and the overall ignorance or negligence that exacerbates the environmental crisis. But we should also recognize that solutions exist, and each one of us can contribute to them. One way is through better border control. It's not about shutting doors or building walls, but about managing human mobility in a way that respects both individuals and the environment. Countries have infrastructures designed to support their population and a certain amount of legal immigration. When these limits are surpassed, it's not just the social fabric that tears, it's the very ground beneath our feet. Investing in effective border control can help alleviate the pressure on the environment. Education is another powerful tool. It's essential to raise awareness about the environmental impact of our actions, regardless of our immigration status. Initiatives that promote environmental literacy, particularly among vulnerable groups, can go a long way in curtailing harmful practices. Stricter penalties for environmental offenses such as littering and unauthorized setting of fires can also serve as a deterrent. But these penalties should be coupled with efforts to provide alternatives, like accessible waste disposal options and safe spaces for temporary shelter. Finally, let's not underestimate the power of community involvement. Local actions can have global impacts, whether it's organizing a cleanup drive, advocating for environmentally friendly policies, or simply educating others about the importance of environmental stewardship. Every effort counts. Remember, taking care of the environment isn't just about saving trees or protecting wildlife. It's about preserving our home, safeguarding our future, and upholding our shared responsibility as inhabitants of this planet. The environment isn't a political issue, it's a global one. Let us all do our part to ensure its preservation, regardless of the challenges we face.